Ahoy, crypto pirates and crypto junkies alike. Welcome to Wake Up Hex. I'm your guy, KNTX. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We got a little bit of a discussion today. I don't know if any of you guys have seen Richard Hart's Twitter, and I have been retweeting the tweets as well. But if you guys are in the United States, you need to contact your congressman. Your House of Representatives, they hold the purse, and the Senate is the approval. You need to talk to both your representatives for your district. It is important, indicative of our future here in crypto, that we have the right amendments put into these laws. So one thing that politicians are great at is legislating your rights out of your own hand and leaving you with the bag and the extra taxes that come with it. So there are ways around these tax measures. Puerto Rico might be one, but they're looking at trying to get rid of that, or at least limiting that as well. So we need to let these people know I'm the captain now, and we need to let them know that we're going to have big enough bags that we can fund their political counterparts. So let them know this. Let them know this. There's a nice little script that you can read with that. I would add more to that, but before we get into that, let me go ahead and bring Papa B in. How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm good. Am I the only one surviving here? Is it the only person that can jump on with you today? Is that the deal, or is it exclusive between the two of us?
Everyone else is so rich that they just decided to retire.
I
know.
Someday I hope that will be me.
So just you and I, man, just grinding it out. Just you and I.
Yeah. Do we jump into this, because this is something that's gotten a lot of it's gotten my dander up as well, but I need to know more, because I read all the goings on with the negotiators from the crypto community, and it seemed to me that the categorization of all of us as stakers, we now become brokers in cryptocurrencies. Is that correct?
That's what they're trying to do, yes.
Unlicensed brokers without a brokerage that is also unlicensed, and we're supposed to give 1099s to all of our clients that will then be given our crypto that comes out of nothing.
Yes. So you may not have realized gains yet, but now you're a broker, and you're obligated to report everything that you ever do, that your wallet ever interacts with this new legislation.
I see.
Yep.
And the question I have, and I'm not going to poo-poo this, because this is critical that we get this taken out, or at least specified in the legislation, that says that true brokers are brokers and we're not brokers.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say, just for an example, if these idiot twits put that in the bill, it is impossible to apply to that, because we don't have a known entity of any sort when we have a DEX and we dispose of our assets. Is that correct?
Yep. 100%.
So we're out of compliance already. So we're already breaking the law, because when you sell the assets that you gain through either mining or staking, you can't comply with this.
There's absolutely no way. Yep.
Okay.
So how are you supposed to reach out to these miners that are anonymous and say, hey, I need to AML KYC you now that I am a broker, but before I can interact with the blockchain?
But so you're saying that the event of actually transacting on the blockchain creates an instance where the miners themselves that approve my transaction are my clients. Is that correct?
Yes.
But that's an expense to me. So I don't have to issue a 1099. They have to 1099 me.
Dude, I'm not 100% certain, because I haven't read any deeper into the new proposed law, other than what I've seen from Jake Chervinsky on Twitter and what Richard has put out there. Fightforthefuture.org. Guys, fightforthefuture.org. There's more details. It's a way to contact your congressman and your senator, your House representatives.
Now, I'm glad we got Wales here now. Wales, I just saw your videos that went out today, and they were excellent. And I learned a lot about the money that I don't understand about. So thank you very much.
But here's the deal. They are trying to make the developers as well as the miners. I do know this. They're trying to make those crypto brokers as well. And if you're interacting with a broker, then you have to AML KYC everything, and that's not going to happen.
Interact with a broker. AML KYC. So enforceable how would be the question. And I don't believe that it itself is the problem. The problem is the way it's interpreted to make anything okay.
That's
make
exactly. So please let me jump in.
Of
Please.
course.
Because this is, you know, and I understand the hubbub. Like I really do. I understand why everybody is vexed and stressed, but you have to understand the game that's being played here. The game that's being played here is these motherfuckers are getting rich. We need to stop this ASAP. Let's throw the kitchen motherfucking sink and some at them, and let's see what we can get away with. That is actually what this is.
I believe that.
So what has to happen is strict non-compliance because they can't enforce it in the first place. So acknowledging the existence of this joke is the first mistake that everyone is making. Top to bottom, all the crypto. Now you have a lot of folks in crypto that are Trojan horses. They're here to bring the legislation on. They're not here to move forward the product or the space. They're not. That's a fact. And most of these folks are the exact folks that people salivate over. The VCs, the money, the pigs. They're the folks that bring in the legislation. Why else would they be at the front, at the seat of the table? Why else would they be at the table?
They want your gains. They want your gains, and they want the power over the decisions you make in your life.
Correct. Because guess what? We're not going to make this legislation. They are. They're going to tell us what we're going to be okay with. And we're going to be so shook, like everybody is right now, thinking that they have to call some clown that's going to do nothing for you. That's a fact.
All right.
I'm from a district where my representative will listen to me because we throw out our representative every couple years when they decide they're going a different
Or
direction.
else does that happen?
I don't know, man. I really don't know. Fortunately, we're in a rural district, and you really have to.
Doesn't happen here, and I live in a big ass city.
Yeah, it's completely different where you're at. I do agree.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, I need clarification. I need to speak in parameters. I want to know, as a Hexagon staker, right? How deep can this go? Give me a scenario, Wales, please, where I'm staking and I unstake, and I'm declaring the amount that I get on top of my APY, all my yield. I declare that as interest income, and I file my taxes, and I pay the taxes on that, but I'm out of compliance for the 1099 some way. And tell me the upside and the downside. How far can I ignore this and just go about my business like I have been, paying taxes on my yield only?
Well, I think your first mistake was paying taxes on your yield because now they know you have crypto.
That's correct. I'm going to be completely compliant with that feature because I checked the box. It says, yes, I do have crypto. Right. And so I'm on the hook there.
Yeah,
no, I'm on the hook there.
That's mistake
it's a mistake,
number one.
But it's a mistake that I'm willing to make. Let's continue.
Right, and that's fine. I'm just outlining the steps, just like
Right. How deep does it dig? Because if I didn't comply to that stupid, terrible feature, albeit terrible and stupid, I did comply with it. If I hadn't, I would have perjured myself, and they could have actually gone back and audited me to the beginning of time, which I don't want to happen if I can help it. Nobody wants that. I mean, not that I have anything to hide, but you don't want that. It's inconvenient. So I decided to comply to the letter of the law. So what is the big change? What's the sea change to me as a taxpayer and a Hexagon that likes to stake?
As the language stands right now,
yes,
you're liable for every and anything that they
want.
What am I
liable for?
Everything and anything that they want you to be liable for. Literally. I'm not joking. That's what it says there. That's the synopsis, in case like people are just not understanding. They literally took the kitchen sink and the rest of the house and shoved it in this little book, in this so-called infrastructure bill.
It's because it's so vague in the wording. It says that everybody's a broker, and we don't have an idea about what the compliance structure for a broker would be.
They're not acknowledging the technological aspects of anything. That's number one. They're just saying if you're involved, you got to pay. Period. Pay
what? Pay what?
Whatever they want.
So you got to pay anything I want.
Well, has anything been put in? Has anything been set in stone? No.
But you can't say that you're on the hook to pay an undisclosed amount on an asset that is confirmed as property.
Here we are talking about legislation that It's stating just that. I mean, what else does it say?
I thought it was just a character. I thought the part that we don't like is just the AML KYC, the issue of 1099s, and the categorization
comes
of
with
us
everything.
as brokers.
That comes with everything else.
All right. So it's so vague that it says at a later date, you'll be asked to pay. And when I should ask you for this favor, you should not refuse. Is that
You have to
going?
understand how legislation works, right? Or how they go about it. Or how they go about it, right? Number one, our input is never valid. This is why travel money rules exist in the first place. And number two, that's an invasion of your Fourth Amendment right.
That's correct, which we reviewed in your video today.
Yes. So it's understanding all of these things that are first and foremost before you call anybody. Because if you're not outlining these facts, then what the fuck are you calling for? Right. You already have rules in place that shouldn't be in place in the first fucking place. So how about we tackle those? Because this is clearly not going to fly. Because
we lost the war on that.
We didn't lose the war. We only lose the war when we opt to comply to nonsense, and we continue to opt to do so. We are the ones that are in charge here, not them. They don't tell us what to do. We tell them. This is the problem that people just seem to miss. This is a republic, not a democracy. So people need to realign their thinking with what the fuck the reality is. People need to go read the Bill of Rights and understand what their rights are. Number 9 and number 10, please review them again.
Okay, hold on. Number 4, let's go back to number 4. That's unfair search and seizure?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Invasion of privacy, top to bottom.
Invasion of privacy. All right. So
that includes your metadata, guys.
Everything.
Yeah, but
everything that's your person. Everything that you own. Period.
The founding fathers didn't realize that social media and the metadata collected, because they didn't see this coming, is the proper communist and socialist tool. It is what they use for propaganda.
Yep.
It has become so perfect because they know everything about you that we have literally given up our Fourth Amendment to the thing that mattered the most, our data.
Okay. But we're talking about a world. Here's where I get off the bus on that whole thing. I think I agree with you, but I diverge off into to the left when we talk about it's a ledger that is publicly viewable, and you can scrape it and get all the data that you want off of it anyway. The only thing that's preventing them from getting everything on you to the beginning of time from when you actually put some crypto into your wallet is establishing a link between yourself and that address. That's it. Everything else is for public view, right? Your name, what you look like, social security, all these little things are not attached to the blockchain until you admit that they are. Is that what you're saying, Wales?
Correct. 100%. If you don't tell them, how do they know? You're a needle. Not even in a haystack. You're a drop in the ocean of the galaxy.
However, this linkage is contained within the transaction for your on-ramp. Whenever you put fiat onto the blockchain, you got to go through the on-ramp, and those exchanges are bound by laws, let's say in the United States in this case,
correct,
to comply and provide AML KYC back to the government. And I can't think of any way you can do that in force with the amounts of money that we need to make serious money in any way to obscure that. Am I correct?
Correct. You would have to move small. You would have to move small. Correct. Like so less than $1,000, $2,000, like less than 10. I mean, really, on a daily basis, you want to keep it under $2,500.
Okay, so let's say you say, "Fuck you, I'm in compliance. I did my AWA, you've got the blockchain, you've got my on ramp, my off ramp as well. Where are the Winklevoss twins, and where are all the guys that have these on ramps and off ramps? Where are they getting up in arms? I haven't seen anybody weigh in yet. Am I missing that?
Why would they?
They're working with them.
Yeah, why would they?
They're already required to report your user information, your user data with the amounts in and out of your wallet. Like they already report that behind your back, whether you know it or not.
Okay, so other than the transaction that gets you from Hex to, let's say, a stable coin, in this case, DAI, and then DAI to, let's say, Gemini Exchange, which has DAI as one of their lineup, then it would be on the Winklevoss twins to either be the recipient or issue you a 1099, and they should be set up if they're in compliance. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, then
Yes.
then this is a small tweak for those that want to be completely anonymous. I got bad news for you, and that is that you're not if you have an on-ramp. So we got to think of a way to get something that doesn't require a KYC and AML, correct?
That's when people start to accept crypto, when you can get rid of the middleman that is the fiat currency system.
Right, but as Richard says, we for a while yet we have to rely on this damn on-ramp, off-ramp.
We do. But this is why knowing your rights, knowing that travel money rules are illegal, knowing all of these basic things are important, because we are not doing anything by continuing to let them to drag us along their fucking ride, because they don't fucking deserve it. They've lost that right umpteen times over. If 2020 hasn't gotten you mad to the point that you don't fucking sound like me, there's a problem with you. Honestly.
You mean I don't sound like a very angry
you don't.
person?
And you should.
Oh.
Everybody should.
I
Everybody
feel
around the world should be pissed the fuck off, because they're still playing these fucking games, and they continue to play these fucking games. Not only with your ability to fucking travel and visit family and friends, but now with your motherfucking money. And we're sitting here talking about how to fucking comply. What planet are we fucking on?
Hey, you're amongst friends. It's a safe place, Wales.
It is. But I'm pissed because it's not funny.
Please don't hurt me.
It's not fun. And it's not a conversation I like to have, because people just sit here and fucking act like it's okay, and it's not. Because people don't fucking read, and they just don't know it's not. And that's not my fault. Because guess what? I'm some schmuck from the hood, and I fucking know. What's your excuse? You don't have one. That's the fucking excuse.
I feel like I've lost a debate that I wasn't even.
No. It's just a general commentary, because I'm reacting to what I'm seeing. Right? I'm reacting to the sea of reactions from the crowd. That's why I'm speaking the way I'm speaking. People need to understand that this isn't a game. They need to read. They need to educate themselves. This isn't a battle. We're going to fight complying. End of discussion. You're just complying further. That's it.
Okay, so the alternative is to go into the black market and the gray market only. Is that what you're saying? We go in, if we fail at this, if this comes down, it is absolutely the only thing that we can do rather than complying. We're supposed to go black market.
Let's think about it. Right? What else is there realistically to do?
I'm becoming a digital nomad with bank accounts in multiple countries, passports, and sovereignty over my money.
There's a reason. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, right? Because there's a reason I am being so adamant about people understanding they need to leave the fiat system alone and go straight crypto. You don't need fiat. You don't. You only need it when you need to use it outside. And here's the thing. Everybody makes money, and guess what? Fiat. So you don't need to essentially be cashing out crypto unless you must. Period. Just so you're creating a footprint because you opt to. Because the majority of people make money in fiat. If you're not that in this bucket, then this clearly doesn't apply to you. But if you are, then you should be smart enough to understand when you're dealing with fiat, you need to bring in what you can and leave out what you need. So you don't have to create this footprint.
Right. Okay.
This is important. Right?
Just sorry, Wales. Hold on a second. Sandy B thinks that I'm legitimately scared of you. So I wanted to set the story straight.
No,
Wales and I are the best of friends, and I love to hear
private conversations all the time.
And anyway, even if he was angry at me, I'm 7,000 miles away from him, so it's fine.
Yeah, well, I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not angry at Papa. I'm just frustrated with the whole situation, and I think everybody should be. I'm only 36. Why the fuck isn't everybody else tripping?
If you guys can get your representatives on the phone, you're not gonna. Good luck, Wales, in your jurisdiction. They're not going to be okay with this. But there is the Constitutional Convention, where 35 states have to come in and they rewrite how the federal government works. Well, there's about 33 states that have signed on already. And if you can get your representatives to sign on to this, they want to go back to the original Bill of Rights. And I would love to see us go in there and do a complete revamp, rehaul of the federal government.
Yeah, like step one, getting rid of all laws that are not the Bill of Rights.
Well, that's the problem. You guys out there keep voting for these people who tell you,
Look,
I want
man,
to put
I'm
this
gonna
law
tell you
into place and I
something.
want that law into place. What about
I'm gonna
hiring
tell
a
you
politician that wants to get rid of laws?
I'm gonna tell you something. You got to understand the game, right? And the game is bigger than voting. Voting is a single facet of this 20-sided die that we roll every fucking day called life, because people choose not to read. This is simply the reason that we are living the life that we're living. People choose to get their information from mainstream media, people will not take the time, bro. Like, they just won't. And they'll make excuses for it. And you want to know how I know? Because that's what I see everybody else doing. People rather take the time to go watch some show, to go do anything else except take 20 seconds, read what's this First Amendment of the Constitution state. What does this mean? It doesn't take longer than 20 seconds to do that. It took me 30 minutes to make this nonsense video that I made last night that I didn't even expect anybody to really look at, because people just, you typically think people don't care. But we care enough to be talking about it now. So clearly everyone cares. So let's start taking the right steps, just like what you just outlined, Kinetics. Like, we need to get these people back in their place. Them dropping thousand upon thousand page legislations on us is not getting them on the page.
Mm-hmm.
It's allowing them to continue to do the nonsense that they've always been doing. And we need to get them to not only stop, we need to get them to repeal so many laws that are on the books that it's freaking ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all break the law every day.
Right. Okay, you're taking a whale bite out of the minnow bite.
We all break the law every day, and that was literally the last thing I was going to say.
Because you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We break the law every day, but repealing laws takes so much effort and so much time, which is why if this one passes, it'll take 20,000 times more effort from us to repeal it over the next 10 years than get it amended.
You're not hearing. We're talking about going back to basics. That's what needs to happen. People need to be responsible. People need to be adults. All this babysitting shit has to end. This is the problem. How many representatives do you think you realistically need? Do you know how many people represent you politically just in Japan, let alone the United States? You must have 100 fucking people, just you. Do you think you know any of their names, Papa? Of course you do not. Like, this is the game, brother. This is the real life game that's being played. It is not about, it's going to take 10 years. No, we need to change this whole fucking thing. And it needs to be done in an aggressive fashion because they think we're just going to simp here. Like, honestly.
My point is that it takes 10 years to repeal, so we shouldn't allow a law to be shoddily passed through and then expect it to be repealed or replaced later on. That's what I'm saying.
I understand that.
Right. And the ones that are stack up a mile high. I agree with you. The ones that have been warped with all these little things that have been tucked in real quick before they have to pass. Obviously, that's not great. Right. But it takes so much time to reanalyze it, redebate it, revote on it, and then it has to be docketed for another point in time. Then there's another big issue that occurs and it gets sidelined. I mean, honestly, I agree with doing everything we can to hit this one big now because it's too vague. It's not enforceable, and it hits us, and it actually screws up the market because people will be more confused.
Yeah.
So my point is that we're going to do everything we can, and I want to prepare for the upside and the downside. What about the upside? If the definition can be straightened out, kinetics, what do you feel about it? And if the three senators that are acting on their own best interest, because we're going to vote them back in, but if they work it out and they redefine everything in terms of who is a broker and who is not, then how do you feel about it? Are you going to stop moving to Puerto Rico? Are you going to stop moving to the Antarctica with your 4 kids?
I'm setting up my legacy and my family in a position for generations to come to be able to play the game that the wealthy already do, to escape legally the over legislation and the over taxation of people. Unfortunately, you just have to know how to play the game and you get to work around it. So you guys need to do your research. You need to figure out ways around these rules they're creating, because they do exist. Because if you think that these rules apply to the people who are making the rules, you're sadly mistaken.
Okay.
Speaking about rules, I would like to add to the conversation.
Please, Peter.
Yeah. Thank you.
How did they do it in Soviet Russia?
No.
Soviet
I have-
Slovakia.
Feels sometimes
Behind
like
the
that.
Iron Curtain.
I spoke to a Portuguese tax attorney, and I had the whole Portuguese situation explained. So it's like in this way that cryptocurrencies are not defined in Portuguese law for taxation. So basically, if they cannot tax any transactions that go to fiat in Portugal. If you are a tax resident of Portugal, and that could be favorable for people who live there or are want to be shortly Portuguese tax citizens. There is maybe one simple trick to how to do it. If you basically rent something for a year in Portugal, like long term, then you automatically become a tax resident. But there is a caveat to this, that you have to be sure not to be a tax resident in your original country.
If you're American, that
your
applies to
country-
you.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Americans.
so-
That's
So we're one of two countries out of almost 200 countries in the world. There's only two countries, and the United States is the number one country that, regardless of where you live, you still owe a tax debt to the motherland.
that's
That bullshit needs to be repealed ASAP. You know when
It's
you guys
something
do
you
you
have to
guys know
work
when
on.
that shit was pushed?
No, I have no clue on the history.
I do,
and
because that was right after the financial crisis.
there is
Fatka. Go ahead, Peter. I'm sorry.
No problem. So something more in regards to the legislation in Portugal. So they don't have the defined cryptocurrencies in law right now, but there is some law in works that probably will come into effect next year, sometimes in the beginning of next year. So there is only a small window for people who would like to maybe take advantage of the Portuguese legislation to do the trick if they can. So yeah, maybe the next best thing it's Germany and Austria, where
But
you are.
Peter, I'm sorry, just to go back. If they want to take advantage of it as a European citizen, right? They would have to denounce their citizenship and come over within this fiscal year.
Something like that. If the legislation of their parent country allows it to, that they basically stop being tax resident of their original country and move to Portugal.
Oh, okay. So only tax resident, and as Kinetics covered, that
yeah.
Japan and the U.S. are the only two countries that tax everybody, no matter where they are. So, as a resident, a tax resident of the EU, for example, you can move about and you say, "I'm done paying taxes here. I'm moving over there."
If the legislation of your current country allows it, that you just basically say, "I'm stopping doing this here, and I will do that there." There is maybe some more paperwork to it, but that's basically the information I got from my half-an-hour call with the lawyer.
Well done. Thank you for that information.
Yeah, no problem. I like to share. And
So-
let's see what the tax law will be next year. But if they will just copy the existing law for legacy markets, then it will be around 20-something%. And there is one more catch to that. If you sell the cryptocurrency, it should be just one sell, not reoccurring sales because that could be suspicious and could be taken as a professional income.
So right now, I think Korean Investor has been doing his research because these are the same places that I've seen as of now. Now these can change. The jurisdictions and the laws can change in these places. But
Yes, of course.
Singapore,
Portugal will change their legislation in coming
dude,
half year,
you don't think that the full court press of the United States government on Portugal couldn't cause Portugal to say, you know what, we see things the way the United States does now. But
About 10 seconds. Yeah.
for now, Singapore, Bahamas, Cayman Islands, Portugal, and the UAE are a few places where you do have a little more rights over your crypto in your life. Now, you may not have other rights that are afforded you in some of those areas, but that is something to consider there, guys. I've always been a believer in not just the Bahamas, but the Caribbeans as a whole. I went down this rabbit hole back in 2017 with a buddy of mine that lives in Bali, and we went through a lot of different places where, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that have discussed these as well, but for the right price, you can buy passports to some of these smaller Caribbean countries. And the nice thing is you show up to over 100 different countries in the world with a passport from the Caribbeans. Like Antigua is a really good one. There's like an instant visa in 100 different places if you show up on their doorstep. So things get bad enough, you can use that passport that you purchased from Antigua to get into just about any other country, any other developed country in the world. So there are some advantages to things to your owning your own sovereignty for different jurisdictions.
All right. Can I open this back up to a different idea? And that is, if you don't want to physically relocate your body and play all these games about relocation and taxable whatever, can we consider for a moment, and Wales, again, can you please weigh in on this? There are so many great ways to fund a corporation, to take losses, to put in some gains, to reinvest, to play the old traditional game, and not have to pay what we think are unreasonable taxes. Reasonable taxes, right? If you're out to pay no taxes, I can't comment. But if you're out, if you're out to pay reasonable tax, but look, KNTX, you run a few businesses. A lot of us are incorporated. You're telling me that there's no way to play the game and work it through the system, and
you absolutely you can. There's a lot of resources out there. A good attorney, a great attorney will teach you how to do this. Look for the people who already represent people of substantial means. Look into things like Delaware LLCs. That's where the politicians hide all their money. So you might need to.
Delaware is a primary jurisdiction, in fact.
Yep. So what's neat about a Delaware LLC is that the members of the LLC don't have to be named and therefore cannot be taxed if you don't create the footprint of who owns
Wyoming is also another state that abides by that rule.
Yep. Okay. All right.
Yep.
So let's say that I've got a Wyoming LLC. Right?
Wyoming is crypto friendly, in fact.
Okay. So I got Wyoming LLC. I fund it with my gains, and those gains now become my investment. I now get the paper and the stock from the LLC, for which I am maybe one of whatever amount of people involved in the LLC, maybe the sole proprietor. I don't know. You're telling me that what's the upside? What's the downside? How much tax would I owe on that investment? I believe it's relative. It's almost nothing, right? On the
you're
first,
probably looking at about 20% on average.
20%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all this rigmarole is over,
and you can write a lot of that off. You can write a lot of that off as do this legally. See your CPA and your tax attorneys.
Sure.
And I highly recommend you guys hire these professionals. They're the ones that are going to keep you from paying too much. They don't cost, or they don't cost. They pay. So in other words,
you keep more than what you pay.
You're going to be paying these guys substantial sums, but you'll still have a net positive cash flow in your pocket, versus what it costs to pay these guys. But But so tax attorneys and CPAs, I highly recommend make sure you find good ones that understand and are willing to take the necessary. Too many CPAs out there will play it safe, and you'll end up paying more than you really should because they're afraid to sign their name to no, this is not something that should be taxable. But what's also neat is that these LLCs can actually fund your they can fund your lifestyle. They can pay for everything in your life, and then they're tax deductible to the LLC as well.
Yeah, sure. Like I said, there are ways to play the game, which is fine. So the only real downside is that the all-seeing eye going into your transactions for the first time ever and trying to see something wrong. And that's what the tax attorney is going to work with you to make sure you don't trip yourself up for.
Yes.
And you got to be on your guard. You have to hire this new guy, and you have to make sense of the law, and you have to play the game. And now you almost have to have an LLC to do this in.
Yep.
Yes, at least.
Right.
Or there's trusts, and depending on your jurisdiction, you'll need to talk with an attorney to make sure that the trust is set up. There's revocable and irrevocable trusts, and there's ways to set up where the legacy money goes to your heirs in the future and how to minimize their tax benefits of being the recipients of annual payouts, monthly payouts, however it may be. So thanks, guys. Thanks, Hex Clips. Absolutely. There's only 77 likes. What are you guys doing?
Well, they don't like them.
Yeah, they're too busy listening.
A like for us is not a like for the mandate, right?
So I'm trying to be pretty vague. I'm trying to give you guys as much info as I know and while still being vague, because I am not a tax professional. I want to state that very clearly, but there are good tax professionals out there that can help you keep money in your pocket, and it's going to cost you something, guys. So do you want to pay 50% taxes after your state and your federal income tax bill comes due? Or do you want to pay 15 to 20% after you pay for a really good professional? So you guys need to think about how you really, most of the work is done from the beginning. You have to have the right strategy, and you have to follow that strategy to a T. So you need to talk to these professionals. You guys need to get out there and talk to these professionals.
For sure.
So there's a silver lining on these impending foreboding clouds.
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's not pull our skirts over our heads and run around in circles. We know that we can conquer this, number one, by getting in touch with our senators and congressmen and making sure that everything's clarified. And then we continue to fight, if that should pass, to repeal or amend. And then while it's being done, we also learn to play the game and limit our taxes, which is nothing new that we've been preaching. We've been talking about this for the last 18 months together, that we should be organizing ourselves, getting our ducks in a row. Funding Jim has talked about it ad nauseum. Wales has been talking about it. KNTX, you've been talking about it. RG3's been talking about it. So it's business as usual. Let's not go freaking apeshit crazy. And yes, Wales, I know you're very frustrated and passionate. I too am. But there is a way out, correct? To fight back the right way. Or you want to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't have to go up to Second Amendment rights. We don't have to cover that one too, right? We could just ease off the trigger, right?
Yes, I highly recommend staying away from the revolutionary ideas of taking up arms against your government.
Thank you.
The people who start these revolutions are hardly ever the people that end these revolutions. The American Revolution was one of the few that was actually the case. So things usually don't pan out for those who are quick to pick up the guns. I'm just want to throw that out there as history tells. There's ways to work the system from the inside. Those of you in Europe and the UK, don't think that the laws that come down in the United States aren't going to be set as precedent for what happens in the EU. You guys need to pay attention to what's happening in the United States. Yep. I don't know how many of you guys would be interested in this, but RG and I have talked about this in the past, about putting together a PAC, a political action committee, and funding the right people, maybe even a whole new party at some point, because there's going to be a lot of money that flows into into crypto. If we've got 1% of the population involved in crypto, and look at the market cap now, how many trillions of dollars do you think go into crypto when just 10% of the people in the world are involved in crypto? So I think it's important to be politically active to some degree. Don't put a target on your back. You guys don't need to be the Antifas out there or the extreme MAGA right.
No, not at all.
Like that is not the way I'm saying to go here. But if you have a political action committee that's willing to fund the right things, like a constitutional convention of the states, where they rewrite the boundaries that the federal government has crept over your rights over the last 100 years. Actually, it's been longer than that, but that's really when you started to see
longer,
it was
at least 150.
Yep, exactly. So it would be nice to see us claw back some of those rights and get more of the laissez-faire type. That you guys know that the income tax is actually unconstitutional, right?
I actually went over that in the video.
Really,
Yes,
please, please, not that. Just
Yep.
It's
let's not
true.
go there, please.
It is
Yes.
true. I have my wife's grandfather fought the good fight for most of the years of his life. Unfortunately, there weren't enough other people willing to pick up the fight with him. That's the problem, is that too many people are scared to take the fight.
Too many people are too busy being scared of I don't know what the fuck.
Guys, I want to quote Cary Grant. When he was questioned by some Hollywood, columnist, they said to him, Cary Grant, you're a movie star, you're handsome, you're beautiful. Any woman in the world would love to date you. Why is it that you're paying prostitutes to sleep with you? And he says, great quote, I'm not paying them to sleep with me, I'm paying them to leave. So that's the way I look at the U.S. government and taxes. I'm paying them to leave. Wales told me that that's not the right way to think. You don't want
a freer state for your kids and their next generation?
Nah,
my kids are going to be rolling
and retire, no problem.
My kids are going to be rolling in clover so much that they'll be able to buy their way out of this shit too, because they got hexed.
Okay. All right, let me explain something to you guys, man. The countries where money matters, they don't even have these kind of laws. They don't have these kind of situations arising. In fact, crypto isn't even relevant there. You can do whatever you want with it. You can buy properties in crypto. You can sell shit and get crypto with it. In fact, amazing, groundbreaking. I know. Wow. But here we are talking about some of the richest countries on the planet. And what are they doing? They're fucking shitting the bed because people are adopting crypto. And here we are discussing how we can appease them. Are you fucking shitting me? I think we all need a serious motherfucking wake-up call. Seriously. These are random individuals. They are not special. I don't know what the fuck. They're not special. They're just random motherfuckers that have a fucking made-up title given to them by I don't know who or what. It's all in your mind. This shit is not real. What is wrong with you people? It's not real. Nature is real. That shit is made up. That shit is man-made. You're here to letting some random dude tell you how you can spend your fucking hard-earned money. Where the fuck am I from? I don't understand what's going on here. No, it's not okay. All this shit needs to go flush down the toilet. What are they doing with this money? We can't even get a crystal accounting of what happens with these funds. No, it's not okay. It needs to just end. These 100 people between me and whoever the fuck the so-called president is, this is nonsensical. We have clearly surpassed the bounds of necessary here. Like, let's be for real.
Thanks for the $4.99, Justin Davis. No promises.
Wow.
We have straight up put on the YouTube algorithms that this is not a kid-friendly show. We did that on purpose. It's probably the only reason we haven't been pulled down yet. So,
yeah, I never put mine kid-friendly.
Never.
Yeah.
Never. But
Never.
So here's where I'm hopeful for humanity. Technology has gotten so good. So either technology is going to enslave us or it's going to free us.
Correct.
And right
There's
now,
no option.
because of the availability of information, they can't hide things in the shadows like they used to. enough people can't afford bread every day, that things will change because they can find the answer to why things are the way that they are. So I think, like I said, I'm very hopeful for humanity because things cannot stay in hiding in this day and age. So things will change. It's just a matter of how bad they got to get before it happens. So
Right. That's a fact. I agree with that sentiment.
Thanks, Brazology. I guess I will concede the show to Wales. And
Come on. I'm sorry. It's just
It's a nautical theme.
look, you just got to understand, man. I was in the military. I've been through a lot of shit. I've seen both sides of this coin. I've been part of an invasion. My country has been invaded. I grew up in the U.S. I understand exactly what the fuck is going on. I've had to. There's a reason I'm still alive. It's not because I'm a fucking moron. You have to understand. When I tell you, you must fucking read. That's the only thing I actually want you to do that I'm saying. All the rest of this shit is irrelevant because it's really just what's coming out of my brain. But you need to read. Otherwise, you might not see what I'm talking about. That's the whole point. I'm talking about what I see. And what I see is what is on these papers here, what's on this thing. And I know what's right. I know what's naturally correct, morally true, morally right. And it's not right that some person that doesn't know a goddamn thing about you or your fucking kids can sit here and tell you what you're going to do with your money. Period. End of discussion. Period. I don't even give a fuck what the fourth says. That's just dead wrong. Period.
All right, so Wales. Hold on a second.
I mean, who doesn't agree with that thought?
Wales. Hold on a second.
Come on.
Think about this. If we in the crypto space and specifically in Hex are screwed, could you imagine how 10 times more screwed they will be if they are not involved in Hex? Is that what you see as well? Or do you think that we got the short end of the stick because we found one of the greatest assets known to man?
Well,
I think we're still net winning.
Yeah,
I just want to throw that out.
I don't see how
winning. We're going to be able to afford bread. Maybe some people won't. Maybe maybe there's going to be widespread starvation. Who knows if it's going to continue this way?
But here's the thing, Papa. Now I know the future looks dire, and it's to the point where I feel like, you know, these kind of conversations are the conversations that need to be had on these streams, right? Because we have the best asset on the planet within our grasp. We're going to be the only ones that are going to be fortunate enough to be able to actually affect change, right? So it's going to be on us to be educated enough to know what's right and to make sure that it happens, because nobody else is going to do it clearly. What they're going to do is invite more paper, more rules. That's what they're going to do. And that's not what we need. We have enough. We need less. Way, way, way less. And that's a fact, not my opinion. That one I will also not concede to. So it's important that people understand what's going on. And this is why I say you have to read. There's no reason for crypto legislation. They're already fucking with us on the on and off ramps. Are you serious? There's no reason for it. They're just mad because people are making money and retiring. Let's be honest. Please.
They need you to pump up their goods and services for their GDP to fund their lifestyle.
Come on.
Wait, look at this. What's this? Are we number 3 crypto above Tether now?
You guys like that, guys?
This is
rich. Like that, guys? 15.3 cents,
billion,
guys. You guys all right with that?
It's okay. It's okay.
I'll be happy when we figured you retired and we weren't ever going to see you again.
This my time is very valuable these days, so you get 4 minutes of it.
Okay, but let's be honest. How much is it going to cost me?
It's free. 4 minutes is free.
Oh, okay. Sweet. Well, thank you for your donation. Do you want me to write you a tax voucher for that? I mean, charitable giving.
Other 1099s now.
Yeah, charitable giving.
Oh man.
Oh, I'm glad that we are in the only real DeFi crypto financial product in the world.
Talk about
That's
lucky.
all I can say.
Dude, talk about lucky.
So lucky. anything pre $1, shoot, we'll say that when it's $10. Anything pre $10 Hex was a great time to get in.
Man.
So
Yo,
when it's $1 million a hex, that's when I'll be happy.
yo, you know what's
There's
crazy?
a lot of inflation.
You know what's
Up at $1
crazy?
million.
what is
Let-
that?
let's talk about that.
Venezuelan bolivars?
Because
Is
that
what
sounds
we're
crazy, but let's talk about
calculating?
that. 'Cause
Oh,
that sounds
no.
crazy.
It's Jillian per hex. Why
$1
not?
million hex. Yo, all right. So hex actually pays interest, right?
Yes.
And let's talk about how is it that it can get to the lowest possible level of interest that it can pay out, which is 3.69, right? That's it. That means the system has to be 100% staked. It doesn't mean that hex can't cost $1 million.
That's true. There's
Independent.
no correlation to what
Exactly.
the price has to be because of that inflation rate.
That's right. Because the inflation, or the way we receive the inflation in form of interest, is a function of the staking percentage of the circulating supply. So if it's only 50%, you're still getting 3.69 times 2, whatever
Here's
that
something.
is.
Here's something. I see. Here's some of the things that the fake gurus, the furus in the crypto space fail to recognize is that the 3.69% inflation. I think it's brilliant that there is an inflation to this crypto because is the inflation of the world population decreasing? I don't see that happening. I
No.
see there an inflation in more people getting in, which means it's happening at a greater rate than 3.69%. So there's a greater supply of new buyers of Hex every day than there is an inflation of the coin supply. That's a net win as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
That's why S&P 500 goes up and to the right.
Exactly right. There's more people participating in the S&P 500 than there ever has been in the history of the S&P 500.
Because of cheap money.
Cheap money.
That's
right?
it. Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily cheap money. It's just it's a function of more people on this earth need more places to get yield.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah. But they also get like the
hold on.
stimulus checks. And it's
Let's
gotta
think
go
about the math. Let's think about the math here.
All
Who has the money to buy stocks? It's not everyone. It's just
Not
people with
everybody.
money. It's just people with money. So it's the people with money
It's
that
the
already
people
had money.
closest to the money supply.
Correct. So when and the more dollars that are printed, the higher the value is going to go. So yes, the more the currency is the base, the higher the value of the stocks are going to go. And also, just to add, that's not me for once. Finally,
They're coming for you, Wales.
no, that's not me for once.
That was me.
There you go.
They finally found where Peter is.
Now they're going for Wales, but
Come out
they have a
with your
long
hands up.
You know, Hex is one of the few products that if you're staked for a year is keeping up with approximately with interest, or I mean inflation, because right now the real inflation being recorded right now is about 15% thanks to all the new money, fiat money that has come into the system over the last year.
Right.
So the real, not the stuff that's being fluffed like the employment numbers in the United States, but the actual real inflation is about 15%. And that's about what we're getting in interest in Hex for a 1-year stake.
You do know that there's a clear definition of the word fluffed, and it's not that. You understand that, Kinetics, right?
Papa knows it well.
Yeah, I don't come from the same industry that you do, my
Yeah.
friend. So
Papa used to be a fluffer.
yeah.
By the way, I forgot while we're speaking about taxes, I forgot to mention that the ETH tax it's pretty high right now after the Lord and Savior EIP 1559.
Yeah, I saw that and I just laughed.
It's just, and I thought to myself like that's bullshit. I think the fee's gonna be higher. So
56 right now.
yep.
Good
And
job,
I ended
guys.
the stake the other day, and it was like just over a year
Yesterday
and
it
a
was
bit.
like 30 something.
Like the day before, well, a couple of days ago, it was like 100 and something.
Yeah.
When
I
you
mean, I
think about
did it at the wrong time.
When you think
After,
about
You did.
after I did it, I
paid
realized.
16. I paid
Yeah.
16.
So the last 5 years of a 15-year stake, you don't get any higher rate than you did the first or after the 10-year mark. But you got to think about what the share rate of everyone else holding Hex trying to get T-shares at that point in time. exponential gains over them. So 56% interest is looking more like 5,600% interest. So
Maybe. Yeah.
it's I mean I haven't done the math, I haven't run the models, but it's a compounding it's the way you simulate the compounding interest. So those of you who have Cuatro Cinco stakes, I don't care how big or small they are, I think you guys are going to be very happy in 5,555 days.
Damn right.
I think you're right.
Dorsey 78. It's not a good show unless Papa gets kicked off at least once.
Was that the first one?
That was
Was that
the
the
first one
I
today.
was going to say.
I only had to do it like 4 times on Tuesday.
Yeah.
As a quadrifecta.
Well,
So many
best.
penalties.
since I've got you, Henry, since I've
Yeah.
got you here and my time is coming short before you start billing me, I'm curious if you could do the if you could do us the honors, my friend.
Play the outro.